Hello everyone and welcome to Alpha Omega Winery. I'm your virtual ambassador, Barrett Spiegel, and today we're going to be diving into our July Wine Club allocation. 2 delicious wines that our club members are going to be receiving around the country. Our 2020 Right Bank blend and a library release, everyone, our 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon from Alpha Omega. Very, very exciting to release these wines to our club members, and we're excited to discuss them with you. We've also got an amazing food demonstration and pairing to go with these 2 offerings. So we're happy that you're here. We're happy that you're joining us, and we've got such a lovely day here in the Rutherford appellation of Napa. Joining me here on our crush pad, I've got winemaker Matt Brain.
Great to be here.
Great to have you, Matt. And assistant winemaker Melissa Paris.
Cheers, friends.
You guys are looking great.
Thank you.
Great. Oh, I've been outdressed here. But thank you for being with us. And we've got 2 delicious wines, Matt and Melissa. Very fun summer wine club allocation for our club members. Brand new release of the Right Bank 2020.
Yeah, you know, in our last release, we had 2 wines that were somewhat similar in that they were both blends and both kind of cool climate expressions. This offering, we've got 2 very different wines.
Yeah.
We've got a library selection Cabernet, which is open and really revealing some subtle characters. It's in a great spot. But then one of our newest 2020 red offerings, our Right Bank, that's just been bottled. So yeah, 2 really different wines. And it's going to be fun to dive into some of the flavors and textures here today.
New release, Right Bank 2020, and then diving into the library in 2016. Paris, this is a vintage that has always resonated with me from Napa Valley. And what a treat for our club members, new and old, to be able to revisit this wine.
And a treat for Matt and I as well, diving into some old library wines, getting acquainted, getting used to them, figuring out what's going on. So yeah, really excited to discuss this stuff with you guys today. And obviously because of library, but also because we have a fresh wine right here, one that we just got in the bottle and we're really excited to talk about.
I don't know if there's a food combination that could get me more excited to have with these 2 wines than what we're preparing today. We've got special guest Chef Jesse McQuarrie, one of our favorites, joining us again today. And Matt, he's got an amazing pairing for everyone that you're going to want to dive into.
Absolutely. I'm excited to go check it out. Chef, what do you got going on back here?
Come on over, Matt. Well, I'm about to make the meatballs for this recipe. And one of the key ingredients is a panade, which I'll explain to you in the recipe. You'll see it's posted online. It's stale bread soaked in milk. And that is kind of the binding agent. You don't have to use eggs if you don't want to for the meatballs. It's kind of a classic Italian thing. And in this case, I've used ground pork, ground beef, simple spice of black pepper, some kosher salt, garlic, Italian parsley, and Parmesan. So it's very simple, easy to put together, take about 5 minutes. Roll up the meatballs. We're going to sear them. We're going to make a really vibrant, fresh tomato sauce and top them with mozzarella and then a little bit of fresh mozzarella as well, and then bake them in the oven, and they are spectacular with these 2 wines.
Absolutely. You know, I personally am such a fan of tomato sauce because it's got lively acidity and it's got sweetness. You can bring in the spices kind of to your own palate. You know, if you like things a little spicier, you can get a little heavier. If you're like me, kind of a little sensitive to spice, you can make sure it's subtle. And it's such a great match for red wine.
It is. I agree wholeheartedly. And the younger wine, the acidity, there's a slight acidity in the sauce, but it does have a really good viscous quality to it that'll pair with the more aged wine. The younger wine, the tannins in the wine will balance out really well with the tomato sauce.
Yeah. Well, excited to get into it and talk a little bit more about this food. So we'll check back in with you in a little bit.
Thank you. I'll start
Thanks, Chef. Awesome.
Italian Meatball Parmesan. That's speaking to me right now.
My fave. I love meatballs. I love Italian food. I love red sauce and red wine. I mean, that is one of the go-tos at my house, like every week at least once. You just know they're going to go well together. It's so versatile and it complements red wine so nicely.
Looking forward to checking back in with Chef Jesse on that Italian meatball parmesan here. Again, recipes for these demonstrations are going to be posted on our website, aowinery.com. We'd love for you to participate. We'd love for you to share on social media with us what you've created and how they pair with these 2 delicious wines. I'm very excited to showcase these and discuss these pairs because these are very, very different wines. We've got a Right Bank 2020 brand new release from the 2020 vintage, and then we're going to get a little bigger and bolder with the 16 Cabernet. But in May, we featured our Left Bank blend, which was absolutely delicious. Now we're moving over to the Right Bank, and we're talking about Merlot.
Yeah, we're going back to the Merlot. We talked about Merlot earlier this year when we released that, and talked about how much I love Merlot, how much we love blending Merlot, how much we love the aromatics and everything about it, but how much we also need some structure with our Merlot as well. So with this guy, the Merlot that comes here is coming from Spring Mountain, mostly and dominantly. We like to have our Merlot in stainless vessels for fermentation mostly. Of course, we'll do a little bit of barrel fermentation on the other blenders that are there, but for the Merlot, we really like to preserve all of the fruit aspects of that through the fermentation process. So in this particular blend, 62% of this is Spring Mountain and 62% is Merlot. So happy little more than half.
Yeah, and in our Left Banks and Right Bank blends, we tend to choose vineyards and barrel lots that are a little bit more subtle, as we've talked about, and we find that we get more subtle aromas and flavors from the cooler growing areas in Napa Valley. So this Right Bank here is actually, a lot of it is from Spring Mountain, but we've got some from Oak Knoll and Coombsville are the bigger proportions. So we're really talking about cooler climate expression and preserving kind of those herbs and spices and earth that we really like in these blends. This is a very young wine, folks, as you're going to be receiving it. It's only been in bottle for a couple months, and you're going to see that there is some really nice kind of wound up fruit here and some nice tension, but a lot of complexity in the fruit profile and in the flavor profile for you.
Yeah, and I hope that some of you people at home picked up on the Coombsville portion, because we've had a lot of wine club members and people asking us like, hey, we want some Coombsville, we want some Coombsville. So here you go, friends. We're starting to introduce this to you.
That's right, and stay tuned for more Coombsville in the future.
Ooh, so we've got 62% Merlot, we've got 21% Cabernet Franc, kind of tip over the Right Bank of the Bordeaux region, and then 17% Cabernet Sauvignon. Delicious fruit from all over Napa, mainly Spring Mountain with that Merlot, which we love. One thing, we always talk about aromas and palate, but the color on this wine is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and once again, with these blends, you can see that the power and the structure and the density of the wine is there, but without all of the showy fruit, so allow some of those more subtle nuances to come through. But that's what tells us that this wine is going to age really nicely, because it's powerful and concentrated, but subtle all at the same time, really.
Yeah, the fruit aspects are a little bit more like, currants, not very specific, like we normally would say maybe cranberry or raspberry. A little bit more currants, a little bit more angular, things like that going on.
An herbaceousness to it as well, which you can get with Merlot and Cab Franc.
Definitely,
Absolutely love this wine. It is young. It's a 2020. We've got some delicious 2020 wines that are going to be coming out here this year that I think are really going to impress our club members and our following. And this is one of the first releases, this Right Bank. Another delicious, fun wine for Alpha Omega Club members.
Yeah, really an interesting wine. This is a wine that this has a good amount of barrel ferment in it, but a little less than some of the Cabernets, to really preserve the subtle characters of the fruit and some of that tension that we want in the tannin profile.
Gotcha. Is that because Merlot is typically a thinner skin variety than Cabernet Sauvignon, maybe a little less barrel fermentation?
And Merlot, when I think about it, just really generally, Sauvignon Blanc, you want to preserve all those aromatics, right? So you want that in stainless. Merlot is similar that way in red. You want to preserve all those aromatics. You don't want them to get beat up. And the barrel fermentation process, it can take a lot. It really likes that backbone of structure. And it can really take those manual punch downs every single day. Whereas when you're in the tank, you can kind of control a little bit more about pumping over and different aspects.
Yeah, that's a great point, Paris. And I think that also, those beastly tannins that Cabernet has really matches well with our warm barrel ferment technique, because it softens those and it kind of beats the tension out of those tannins. And also sometimes Cabernet has a little bit of a green note that the barrel fermentation allows us to really, it incorporates that green note very nicely. Well, Merlot doesn't really have a green note in the fruit, and it doesn't have that powerful tannin. So I think just naturally we tend to pull back on that warm barrel ferment a little bit when we work with Merlot.
Excellent. Absolutely delicious blend again. I just love everything that is put down on this kind of new tech sheet here. I mean, currant, blackberry, cedar, graphite, herbs, gamey meat. I mean, you're getting all of this in this wine.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, folks. It's a very complex wine, and we always have a lot of fun with the tasting notes. But to really represent the complexity of this wine is a challenge because there is really nice fruit there, but there is all those other really fun characteristics that you mentioned.
And also, I think it's going to be kind of fun that, you know, Barrett, we always make fun of you and say, like, you drink the wine too quickly. You drink the wine too quickly. This actually is a wine that Matt and I are going to say, like, hey, we actually recommend that you drink this
yeah,
in
it's
the next
tasting great right
18
now.
months or so when you get it.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Real, drink now.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm glad we're finally all in agreement here. I mean, the wine's too good, life is short, so I say drink them. And now that I have your approval, this isn't going to last long in my cellar.
Great.
The 2020 Right Bank blend, everyone. What a great wine to feature from the 2020 vintage. So I hope you all enjoy it. I think you will. Well done, Matt, Melissa, and your team. Delicious wine. Now we're going to shift into a little bigger, a bolder, and a fun library selection. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this wine to be re-released into our wine club. If you're watching this video and you're not a club member, this is one of the major benefits of joining Alpha Omega's wine club. We're going to re-release some older wines that maybe you didn't get the chance to taste when you visited us recently, or just they weren't available. So this is the beauty of a great wine club. We've got the 2016 vintage Cabernet Sauvignon. We're going back in time, Matt, and I just remember collecting some wines from the 16 vintage out of Napa Valley and being blown away.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, you know, it's such a fun thing to be able to go back into the cellar and release wines that have been stored in bottle for a couple of years. And to see a wine like this that's powerful and rich, but also really aromatically open is really fun. There's some real beautiful dusty leather and tobacco in here that's really framing the fresh fruit. And to me, this wine is just in a perfect spot where it's really showing the vintage, a great vintage 2016, but in just such an approachable spot right now. It's really showing all of its characters. And you guys, when you get this wine and pour it in the glass, it is just jumping aromatically out of the glass right now.
Oh my gosh. I was almost going to say, like, let's not even talk about anything else, but just the aromatics. We could probably be here for 30 minutes just talking about that, especially coming off of this young, bold, fruity wine that we just had our noses and talked about. So it's so warm. The barrel is there. There's that baking spice. There's cinnamon. And then you also get, like Matt was talking about, so much complexity. You start to get the fruit as the undertone versus the overnote, which is so amazing. And that's what you want for a wine that's been laid down for this long.
And you know, it's a fun blend. This is this actually has a good amount of blenders in it. It's 92% Cabernet, but we've got 4% Cab Franc, 3% Merlot, and 1% Petit Verdot. So I think that those extra characters are really kind of supporting the Cabernet really nicely. This wine is 100% Cabernet, but it's just got some of those gaps filled in by those other characters, and it's a beautiful seamless flow across the palate.
I mean, I love this wine, and I love, again, going to some of the descriptors. I get a nice bright red fruit, like a strawberry around the beginning of this, and then you get the kind of the darker fruit, the floral, and to your point, it's just opened up beautifully over a few years in the bottle, and still has plenty of life left on it.
Oh yeah, tons of life left. I mean, this wine's going to go for another 10, 15 years easy, depending on how much you liked in that age character, but really well-crafted wine, you know, and these wines, folks, these aren't wines that have been moved to wine shops and maybe were in a truck for a little while or maybe sat in somebody's kitchen, you know, kind of getting warm.
Good point.
These wines get off the bottling line and they go right to storage. And this wine has been in perfect climate storage since it came off the bottling line. And tell you what, aging wine in a bottle like that, it does create a better aromas and it does allow the wine to age in a perfect way. So that's what you get, luckily, when you buy a library release from AO. You get perfect aging as well.
Great point. We've cellared this wine for everybody.
We sure
and now
have.
we're re-releasing it. And I will say this, because last year we re-released our 2015 Cabernet, vintage Cabernet Sauvignon from Alpha Omega. And this year we're re-releasing the 2016. You are going to want to buy as much of this as you possibly can. And trust me, you'll be happy that you did, because this will go fast. You know, once these wines get re-released in Wine Club, people start opening them and tasting them, and the next thing you know, the phone is just ringing off the hook. And the 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon is going to go as fast as that 15 vintage did. That I am sad that I did not purchase more of.
Right, sure.
What was I thinking?
Wine regret.
Wine regret. Absolutely delicious. Love this 2016 vintage Cabernet Sauvignon, showing incredibly well. And then the 2020 Right Bank is just a fun new wine with Merlot and Cab Franc.
So much potential. You know, I look at this wine. This wine is just it's just like an adolescent. You know, there's so much potential. There's a lot of character there, but it's not refined like the 16 is. It's fun to move to the 16 and see these refined, elegant, aged characters. Really a nice contrast between these two wines.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I cannot wait to hear and taste and smell how both of these wines are gonna pair with the masterpiece that Chef Jesse is putting together.
Yeah.
Italian Meatball Parmesan.
Should we check in and check on the progress
I say
here?
check in.
Swing back around.
Check in, and let's see what Chef Jesse has for
Chef,
us.
how's it going back
Well, I'll
here?
tell you what, I've made the meatballs.
Yep.
I took a sip of the cab and tasted the tomato sauce. Oh my God. This is a great pairing. As I explained earlier, it's going to go great with the Right Bank, but both pairings are great, but with the cab just now, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know, I think there's something about Italian wine and red sauce that goes so nicely together. And for me, like Sangiovese and Brunello, when they start to move into that leathery herb kind of character and the earth starts showing through, that's the real synergy. And I think with our 16 cab, because it's open kind of into that spot where some of those less primary fruit characters are coming through, I think it kind of lends that kind of classic Italian kind of sensibility.
I agree.
Yeah.
What he said.
Anyways,
With me, no, I'm a simple chef. So what I do is I try the wine and things come to me, and I don't know as much verbiage as you do, but because I'm not in it every day.
Yeah.
But this, you will be amazed
Yeah.
how well these both of them pair.
I agree.
Differently, but amazing. Right now, this is the cab is
in
just
such a great
spectacular.
spot. In such a great spot, folks. So when you get your wines, please look up the recipe. You're going to want to try this out and do this matching at home, and you're going to see these synergies just bring both the dish and the wine to life. So great job, Chef.
Absolutely.
Incredible matching.
Thank you. And I can't wait to see some of you at some of the events we have planned. I'm fortunate enough to be involved in some of them. So I hope to see you guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing.
An incredible summer of events coming up, and always fun things going on here at AO to tune into. So great job, Chef. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Excellent. I almost want to just cut the video now and go straight back to a
Dive
meatball.
on. I'm gonna dive into that bowl.
Let's go straight to just
Dive
throw us
right
some meatballs right now. No, I mean Italian meatball parmesan smells delicious, looks incredible, and with these two wines, I'm sure they're going to be fabulous. Again, our food demonstration and recipes are available on our website, aowinery.com. They're under the wine club section under View Wine Club Shipments. That's where these videos are going to be. That's where our recipes are going to be. A slew of incredible recipes and resources for people to be able to make some of these dishes at home and enjoy the wines that we're featuring. And speaking of Italy, one of our next big events is going to be coming up August 13th, and it's our Italy and Napa dinner.
Wonderful.
That's amore.
Oh,
That's
wonderful.
amore.
I'm so excited. I was at the Italy in Napa dinner last year, and it was fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to
The
this.
food is amazing. You know, Italian food with red wine. What an incredible setting. I remember some of the conversations I had and how many people I met at the dinner last year. It's a great experience, folks. If you haven't signed up, take a look.
Yeah, that's one to definitely attend. Our vintners, Robin and Michelle Baggett, truly love Italy, love collecting and enjoying wines from Italy, but we're going to be transporting you all to Italy here at Alpha Omega on August 13th. Go to our website, aowinery.com, under the events section, and check out that event. Sign up for that event and some of the other events that we have planned for the year, or give us a call directly at 707-963-9999. Incredible wine club allocation for July. Great summer allocation here. New release of the Right Bank 2020, and then our library release of the Cabernet Sauvignon 2016.
Yeah, you know,
Game on.
these wines, I've just been enjoying them so much in the past few
Yeah.
minutes. You know, and what's really kind of striking me about these wines is everybody knows that Alpha Omega makes powerful, concentrated wines. But these wines, they're very elegant.
Yeah.
And they're very refined. And they've got characteristics that are very subtle and really speak. Sometimes the fruit in AO wines just is really, really, really bold and kind of aggressive. And these wines, there's a little bit more finesse and a little bit more elegance there. And they're showing really well right now.
Yeah, and we're always really proud of the wines that we present to you guys at home and anytime. But yeah, there's something about these two wines together that are really just almost like playing off of each other in a
They
way.
are,
you know?
yeah.
There's sometimes where you want things to complement each other, and a little bit more of the same is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
But for this, it's definitely a little bit of opposites attract for me,
I agree.
and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well said. Incredible. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our discussion here for our July Wine Club wines. We hope you enjoyed this incredible food demonstration, Italian Meatball Parmesan. Again, we've got our That's Amore Italy and Napa dinner coming up on August 13th. We'd love for you to join us for that event and some of the other events that we have planned for the year. If you're joining us as a wine club member, we're so grateful to have you in our club and our family here at Alpha Omega. A variety of great wines coming out through the rest of the year. If you open these two while you're watching this video and you're like, I need more, seriously, call immediately one of our brand ambassadors or go on our website, because both of these are not going to last long at all here at Alpha Omega. They rarely do. I know this 16 is going to move fast, and I have a feeling once people start cracking this 2020, they're going to realize this is great now. Let's go.
Or the three of us might just be stocking up
Yeah, right.
our own personal cellars here.
I'm stocking up, card on file.
Yeah.
Charge it right now. Incredible wines. Matt and Melissa, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
So much fun.
And our special guest chef, Chef Jesse McQuarrie, once
Thank
again,
you guys.
killing
Love
it,
you, Chef.
Amazing.
killing it.
Great job, bud.
You're the
So
best.
so
Hey,
great.
check out those tech sheets. You're right for recipes and just cooking with these wines. Check them out. It really helps me a lot as well.
Excellent, excellent. All right, everyone. We hope to see you soon at Alpha Omega. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back again in a few months for another wine club allocation.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.